What is Joao Fonseca doing? If you don't know, the current tournament going on in the ATP world is the Masters 1000 in Shanghai, a tournament that literally everybody plays. A 2-week tournament that, when healthy, everybody plays, just like every other Masters 1000. But the up-and-coming Brazilian tennis superstar is not playing. And while we don't know any super specific details, what we do know is that it seems to be by choice and not because of an injury. So what is he really doing? Why isn't he playing a big tournament that many people at his age would, who are ranked maybe 100 to 200 to 300 would die to play for? A massive tournament. It's not like one of the 250s that you kind of pick and choose to play. You'll play a few here, play a few there, and maybe if you don't like Shanghai or if you've had a tough week, you're not going to play. No, this is an ATP 1000. Everybody plays these. The prize pool is big and the points are big, okay? But Joao Fonseca is, in a sense, skipping the Asian Tour, okay? Or the Asian swing. Skipping a few tournaments, Chengdu, Tokyo, Beijing, and Shanghai, after a kind of disappointing US Open. He did decent in the US Open, and then he did decent in Laver Cup and Davis Cup. He played both those tournaments, and those are both not required tournaments, and also tournaments that don't get you any ATP points. This guy's not like ranked top 5 in the world. He's not like Novak Djokovic, who skips most tournaments other than Grand Slams because he doesn't really need the rankings points. He definitely doesn't need the money, and he just wants to focus in on a few tournaments a year. Which, by the way, Djokovic is actually playing this Shanghai tournament, which shows the level of kind of absurdity to not play it. So it kind of sounds like I'm talking down on Joao Fonseca's decision to not play this tournament, and I'm not. Well, I'm just trying to explain it. I'm trying to find out why. And I think there's actually probably a pretty good reason. You see, most ATP players, if not every ATP player, complains about the scheduling and the ATP Tour throughout the year. It's a whole year thing. It's exhausting. It's week in, week out, tournament after tournament, loss after loss, unless you're Jannik Sinner or Carlos Alcaraz. So I get it. It is a lot, right? And I probably don't get it because I'm not the one doing it. But like I can put myself in their shoes and understand how it's a lot. But what players don't really do is no one takes time off, right? Because every point feels super necessary. Every tournament seems like another chance for glory and to rise up in the rankings and to make a name for yourself. So any chance people get, they're going to play every tournament unless, again, they're injured, which happens a lot because it's hard to stay healthy for the whole year when you're playing every single week without a break. But Joao Fonseca, a youngling, someone who you would think would have energy to do a whole year, who you'd think would be excited to play new tournaments he's never played before. He wouldn't be sick of it yet, right? And he'd be as healthy as possible. You'd think he'd be the prime person to play every single tournament. Is not. He is not doing that. And I think the reason is, and it's probably multiple reasons, but the number one reason is he's prioritizing what he thinks is going to be the best for his career and prioritizing the tournaments he thinks he can do the best in. He is playing the indoor European hardcourt swing at the very end of the year, right? He is going to be playing Basel. He is going to be playing Paris, okay? And so it's not like he's done taking tournaments. It's not like he's taking time off to go vacation. He's taking time off to go train, to go make sure he's healthy, to not outwork himself, to not have to travel all around the world week in and week out. Because what the players don't tell you when they complain about the schedule is that they're the ones who are signing up for every tournament. And they're doing it because it makes sense. They're doing it because that's the norm. But what if that wasn't the norm? What if players signed up for the required tournaments a year and then took other weeks off, right? Most players in the top 10 especially, they're making more than enough. They don't need to feed their families and play every single week. Right? They can take weeks off to focus on their health, to focus on their mental health, to get stronger, to work on a serve tactic that they haven't been able to execute in matches. But they don't do that because if you're healthy, you play. That's just been the tennis rule. So is Joao Fonseca changing the pattern? Is he onto something that other players aren't onto? I kind of think he is. I think he's not waiting for the ATP Tour to shrink the scheduling, to shrink the year, to change the requirements. He's taking matters into his own hands and saying, I can't do a full year. If I want to play 20 years in this sport, right, I need to start cutting down and to focus on my health now. At age 19, at age 20, at age 21, I need to focus on me now. And this is similar to something Djokovic recently said in a presser in Shanghai, where he was saying, look, people are contradicting themselves when complaining about the schedule, right? They're complaining that there are too many tournaments, and too many this and too many that, when the only thing that's incentivizing them to play every single one, other than ATP rankings and this and that, is the bonuses at the end of the year. That's the only thing you miss out on, right, are the bonuses. Everyone wants a bonus, but you gotta work extra hard for a bonus. That's literally the whole purpose of a bonus. And so if you feel like you can't go out there and compete every single week, or it's derailing, or it's this, or it's that, forget about the bonus and focus on yourself. Do what Joao Fonseca is doing, right? And the other thing is they'll complain about all these tournaments they have to play and this and that, and then the moment they get offered a big old check to go play an exhibition in front of a cool crowd, they say yes. And trust me, all of us would do the same in their shoes. They're getting paid to play a game that is not going to be too hard on their body. This is an individual match in front of a lot of fans. Why would they say no to that? But if you're saying yes to extra matches, you cannot complain about playing too much. That's just, come on, that is contradiction at its finest. And so Joao Fonseca, for example, he knows he's going to be playing. He signed up to play Carlos Alcaraz in Miami like we all freaking would. Everybody would do that. He's probably getting paid $1 million. So you know what he said? Forget about the bonuses. I don't care about that. Let me take some time off now, knowing I'm going to be playing later in the year a lot and not really get as much of an off season, right, as I feel like I need. So let me take a break now. And I wouldn't be surprised if next year he finds different parts in the tour to take little breaks. So this is why I think Joao Fonseca is actually ahead of the curve. He's doing something that other players probably don't understand, and as fans, we are rightfully kind of upset to not be seeing him in some of our tournaments, but we gotta be able to see the bigger picture like he does. Okay? That's all I got for today's tennis talk. If you have any more topics or things you want me to discuss, let me know. Yeah.